Hi, I'm Gil Kennedy, President and CEO of Har-Co Credit Union. Today I'm here with Jesse Bane, Town Administrator of the town of Bel Air, and Amy Chmielewski, who is also the Mayor and a branch manager at Har-Co Credit Union. So Jesse and Amy, welcome. Appreciate you being here, talking about what's going on in the town of Bel Air today under the circumstances that we've all been living with since mid-March. So Jesse and Amy, please tell us a little bit about your roles as Town Administrator and Mayor.
Well, as the Town Administrator, I work at the pleasure of the Commissioners for the Town of Bel Air. Commissioners set the policy and provide the guidelines, and I carry out their directives. I'm also responsible for the day-to-day operations of the town, and also responsible for working with our Chief Financial Officer to develop a proposed budget every fiscal year for the Commissioners to review, amend, add to, and finally vote on the final budget.
Excellent. Amy?
As a mayor, my role is slightly different than the other commissioners. We have 4 other commissioners. We're all elected into the position of commissioner, and then they appoint the mayor. So the town doesn't, the residents don't do that. And then as the mayor, I guess I'm more of the face of the town. If we need to set out any litigation or anything like that, or they ask for someone to speak, generally I'm the one that would carry out that role.
So Jesse and Amy, tell us a little bit about the priorities that the town of Bel Air have been working on over the last few months, and how those efforts have changed, perhaps with COVID-19.
I'll start off by saying that pretty much the things that I do on a day-to-day basis before this happened have pretty much taken a backseat to address the issues of keeping our businesses healthy and alive, doing what we can to help ease them through this crisis. COVID has created many challenges for the town. Things change almost daily. New directives come out that require interpretation, and I'm finding myself a lot of times having to come up with directives for the town. Not certain that they meet the governor's directives, but based on what we're told, it would meet his directives. And the other issue is, since the incident with George Floyd, with the demonstrations that have come to Bel Air, we seem to be the epicenter for a number of protests that have occurred in the county. So you worry about anything and everything that would have to do with a demonstration like that. You hope it's going to be peaceful. You hope that it isn't a challenge for our police department to maintain public safety. And you just hope that in the end, there's a good outcome for everybody. So in that respect, the things I agonize over at nighttime, and I agonize over as soon as I wake up the next morning, is how is the town today? And as a result of what happened yesterday, what's the impact it has had on the town? And what does it mean in terms of the town for tomorrow? So when that's your focus, and you're dedicating your entire focus to that, it becomes a challenge trying to stay up with the day-to-day events. Unfortunately, we have very good staff and department heads. They pretty much have picked up the ball and run with a lot of things I've not been able to address. And for that reason, Bel Air is still the greatest little town in America.
It certainly is.
It is, and I will have to say, we're a very social commission. A lot of us are usually out on the streets talking with either residents or business owners, and it's really made us change and roll back the way that we communicate with our residents and our business owners, and it's been challenging. They've all welcomed it. They've all been great. They've all been patient with us. They are following our directives as we hear them from the governor and from our county executive. So I think it's also brought me a little closer to the community, believe it or not, just being able to reach out to them that way.
Talk to me a little bit about now that the town is open under Governor Hogan's new mandate. How has the town been dealing with social distancing and supporting local businesses?
That has been a real challenge. and I want to say that as we talk about the town of Bel Air, a lot of people automatically associate Main Street, the downtown area, and not a lot is said about the outlying businesses in town, even the residences. So when we talk about the businesses in town, social distancing, and the issues affecting the business, I want to make sure that it isn't just Bel Air Main Street that we're focusing on, it's the entire business community in the town of Bel Air. I have great concerns with some of our business establishments and facilities here in town. Of course, when this is all done and over with, I'm hoping that all the businesses will come out of this okay. Hasn't necessarily been the case up to this point. We know that some businesses are not coming back. The issue of people coming to town and practicing social distancing and the wearing of masks, it's a very difficult thing. While in the beginning we did see a lot of that, social distancing and wearing of masks, I sometimes in walking the town and even walking areas outside of the town, wonder if people have this feeling right now that it's over with and we have nothing to worry about, because when you look at the social distancing and the fact that they aren't wearing masks, a large number of people, is cause for concern, because we are not out of the woods on this yet. And if you read the science and you listen to the medical professionals, the groundwork is here right now for a spike. My concern is that if we have to shut down again because of a spike, I think that it's going to be more serious than the first time around. So we in the town, with the commissioners and my staff, and all our volunteers here in town, are working very hard to emphasize to people, please, thank you. Please, social distancing, wearing of masks, please at the very least do that. We put that out. I won't say it happens daily, but at least once a week that goes out in social media, it goes out in our press releases, it goes out in our meetings. Social distancing and wearing a mask is required. There seems to be a false sense of security when you have, with some people, when you're told that Harford County has one of the lowest rates and we are much better off than everyone else. We're there because of what we did to get to that point. What we want to be careful of is we're not doing something that now is going to put us right in the middle of the pack or even above the pack. And considering everything that's going on lately with the particularly with the demonstrations and the large gatherings like that, there's another thing that I agonize over when I leave at the end of the day and when I come to work in the morning. I wonder what the effect of that is going to be and how seriously is it going to hit our town.
We're sitting here today in this beautiful courtyard in front of the Armory. Can you tell us, Amy, perhaps, and Jesse, a little bit about the Armory and the origins and plans for the Armory?
Well, the businesses in the back are incubators. That's the correct word I'm using. So they are basically, they come here, they can test out their business. If it works, our plan is to get them in another part of Bel Air and out, like on Main Street, on Baltimore Pike, wherever they'd like to be, in the mall, whatever fits their business the best. We've already had Core Boot Camps was in the business, was back here in one of the incubators. They stayed for a while. They now have a spot on Main Street, and they've developed that business into there. I'll let you talk about the Armory itself.
The Armory itself, here again, the Armory has taken a little bit of a hit, but I think that the big thing I want to get across to anyone and ask about Bel Air, we are not in lockdown. We are not shut down by any stretch of the imagination. And we are trying to do everything possible to return to normal as best as we can, whatever that definition is. So no one should fear coming to Bel Air. No one should fear having events in town, assuming that they're small gatherings and that social distancing and wearing of masks are part of that. We have groups that want to use the Armory, and I think the thing that's interesting is that they understand if the event that they're planning is one that they can't conduct because of the requirements out there. But the Armory itself, I would say this, I view the Armory as something that is here for the community. And early on in the COVID crisis, we reached out to the hospital and told them that if they wanted to use the Armory as a satellite office or whatever, the Armory would be available to them. It's a perfect facility for that. It has restroom facilities, it has a kitchen, it has meeting rooms, it has a large open space, ideal for something that somebody is looking for to address people who are sick and need help and the hospital can't accommodate the crowd. So we just had a situation this weekend with a fire that occurred in Bel Air where the Red Cross used our Armory. I believe there was I was told 16 families were displaced as a result of that. So the Armory was available for that. So it's a multi-use facility. It is an expensive operation to run the Armory. It's an old building, it's a big building, and it requires maintenance, and staying up with that is something that we have to do. But again, it's here for the town. It is something that we want to be a destination for people that want to have events, but it's also something that want to be available to the community in event of that there are things that are happening like right now with COVID. And with any other major disaster here in town. And another thing is that I think that the Armory is the focal point of Bel Air. Just about every picture that you see that promotes the town of Bel Air, you're probably going to see the Armory. It's a part of our history, it's something that has a lot of history and is respected by many. And we want to maintain that for whatever the future of the Armory is. We want to maintain that.
It's a beautiful building.
It's very nice. And we just had the floors redone, getting a new facelift in there, paint job, some new curtains.
Excellent.
I would just add to that too, if I could, that the old garages, the Armory, are now incubator spaces for businesses. And what better use of that? They were vacant when I came to town 6 years ago. They were just storage areas. They were really poorly maintained. Walk into any one of those businesses now, I mean, it's fresh paint, lively appearance. Those businesses are doing well. Perfect use of space that was unused, and perfect use of something that adds to the attraction of the town of Bel Air and to the Armory itself.
Well, speaking of outdoors, what other outdoor activities are there? I know there's a farmer's market.
There is. The farmer's market is every Saturday from 7 in the morning until 11 in the morning. The Downtown Alliance yesterday had their first Bel Air market. That's in the Black Eyed Susie's lot. They do that, I believe, once a month. And it's posted on their website. You can go to their website and see all their activities that they're trying to do. They did First Fridays for the first time as well last month, or this month. And it was First Fridays your way. So instead of having a large gathering, standing around watching a band, they encouraged people to come in and support our local businesses, which is really nice, really nice.
I would add to that our parks in town.
Our
Excellent
parks,
facilities
right
for
here.
families, yes. And I've noticed in my travels through the town, I pay close attention to the parks to see what's going on there. They do practice for the people that are using the park. They're practicing social distancing, to some extent wearing of masks. You can tell when it's a family gathering or it's a group of strangers. But the parks are being used more now for family picnics. The playgrounds for the children are phenomenal. We are just opened up a water park at Rockfield. That's a very attractive venue for people. It's going to be very attractive for kids. It addresses the environment, the Chesapeake Bay watershed, so it's an educational tool as well as something that's fun for the kids. From what I've observed and from what I hear, the parents have more fun with it than the kids. But I would tell people, take advantage of our parks. The facilities are there. They're beautiful settings, just great for family outings or for people who want to have small gatherings to enjoy the company of family and friends.
So if I was looking for information about what's going on in the town, where would I find that information?
I would say our website, belairnd.org, Downtown Alliance website. I believe it's downtownbelair.com. You can just Google the Alliance and they can tell you what's going on. All the businesses now have their own social media accounts. You can always just pull up a business in town, go out on their social media, Facebook, Instagram, we're on all the media. It's nice.
What can we do as citizens of this town to support its efforts as well as in Harford County?
I would say that I see a lot of unity amongst our businesses and our residents and a lot of support for our businesses. And that's very important for our residents too, because we have a very large senior population here in town. Transportation can become an issue. So for them to be able to walk to the drugstore to get their prescriptions filled or walk to the grocery store to pick up groceries or necessities, very important to that population group as well as all of the citizens here in town. I would think that the town is already paying as much attention as it possibly can to get our citizens and our businesses through this crisis. And I would say that the participation on the part of our residents and even the visitors of our town to frequenting the businesses that are open and to come to town whenever we're having special events is probably the thing that will keep this town alive, keep this town going, and keep this town a destination when this is all done and over with, we want to be able to say, you know what, for what Bel Air did for its people, what Bel Air did for its businesses, and what Bel Air did for its citizens, in spite of the adversity, they got it. They knew what had to be done to keep the town going, and again, to make it the greatest little town in America.
Exactly. Come and support the businesses, support the residents, keep your social distancing, keep your 6 feet, keep your masks on when you can, and just come out. It's a very walkable town.
Jesse and Amy, it's been a pleasure having you here today and really supporting our efforts to bring more information to our members as well as the community. I thank you for sharing with us your thoughts and your impressions and all the hard work that you brought forth for our community.
Thank you for taking the initiative on that, Gil, and thank you all for putting up with us to get through this. But my hat's off to you.
Appreciate that. Thanks so
Making
much.
this possible.
Thank you.